this live stream on my channel, Cole's Travel, Cruise and Sightseeing channel. I thought I'd do this one because I've got some little bits here, basically cruise leaflets and things, that I just thought would be good to show you live on camera. For any of those that perhaps haven't seen my video on the Morella Cruises groups on Facebook, which is where I've put some of the videos. So, first of all, there's quite a few things, perhaps for those that have never cruised, that you might not know about cruising. So, first of all, what normally happens when you board the coach, or what happened when I went on a cruise last time, particularly in 2023 when we went on Explorer 2 from Dubrovnik, you generally get a leaflet similar to this, which basically is your adventure starts here. Now, this one was from the Morella celebration when I did the Venetian Vistas cruise. So usually it tells you how long your transfer time is, what to expect when you get in your cabin, and also you sometimes get a ship tour advertised in the cruise news, which you usually get in your cabin. I will show you one of those in a minute. So usually what happens at the port and the first step. So this leaflet's generally split into 3 or 4 pages. So you've got like your itinerary, you've got what to expect, how to settle your account, regarding entertainment, regarding going to the muster drill or watching it on a screen in your room. You've also got members of staff on the back as well, so you know roughly who you're going to expect to meet on board your cruise. So I'm going to go through this just so that for those of you that perhaps are interested in cruising, have thought about booking one, or maybe have one coming up very soon. It's literally a month now until I go on my cruise. That's how quick it's come round since I booked it. It was booked in October, so the time has just flown like that, okay? So it's literally a month away just about now. So I'll be so excited because I'm obviously going to head to the airport. Hello, Alejandro. To go to the hotel at East Midlands and obviously get ready to fly out to Tenerife, the Canaries, to join the Discovery 2. So I know that when I get on the coach, hello Silvertips, that when I get on the coach, I will get one of these leaflets. Hello to you that are joining. Hello. I'm just going through this information for those that perhaps want to, or have thought about, or even are due to go on a cruise. So when you get on the coach, it's always advised to read this information, because your transfer time can vary from half an hour to an hour or an hour and a half, depending where you're flying into, and also where your cruise ship is going to go from. So in my case, it's Tenerife, where I'm going to be going from, but it's Santa Cruz, which is in the north, and I'll be flying into Tenerife South, and the motorway is like it's right up the right-hand side of Tenerife. Can we get a shout out? Yes. Hello, Two Dumbos. Hello, Steve Rocker. Hello, Gail. Brilliant. So many people are joining. Lovely. So I'm just going through this information here regarding cruises with Morella Cruises, or whichever cruise line you go with even, you'll probably get a similar thing to this. So I'm going to read it just for those of you that have perhaps never cruised or don't know what to expect. So it says, when you get on board, there's a cruise news in your cabin, which basically looks like this. I'm fine, thank you. Hello, hello. So if you've not cruised before, it says on this leaflet that you keep your eyes peeled for a ship's tour, advertising the cruise news, which is this leaflet that I've shown you. I'll discuss that in a minute. When you get to the port, you stay in your seat on the coach. It depends if it's bad for the environment. No, I quite enjoy it. A member of the team will welcome you and give you some useful information about embarkation. Your first step is to make your way inside the terminal, present your passport to collect your ship's boarding card, which looks like this. Okay. You'll need this card when getting on and off the ship and to charge any onboard purchases to your account. It is also your door key, and you may get a spare one. Every person on the cruise has to get... Yes, I am. Every person on your booking has to have one of these. Every person that's in your party on a cruise has to have one of these, including kids as well. And it has your name on it, the date of expiry, your cabin number, your muster station number or letter, and also what type of board you are, which is AI on this case, which is all inclusive. So anyway, so you get that. Labels were placed on your luggage at the UK check-in, so your luggage will be taken to your cabin, and you usually get those about 2 weeks before on Morella Cruise Control online. It doesn't matter whether your English is not good, it doesn't matter, I knew exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I'm talking about cruises on the ships, okay. Right, so what happens is, make sure that you have your passport and credit or debit card to hand when you check in. Please note we do not accept American Express cards. If you prefer to leave a cash deposit, this can be done at reception located on deck 4. This is on Morella Celebration, by the way. But whichever ship you're going on Morella Discovery 2, it's on deck 5, which is where the atrium is. Clear signs will show you the way to the ship. You'll pass through the ship's security on the gangway for screening, and you present your boarding card, which is this. Please ensure that your hand luggage, mobile phones, loose change, anything in your pockets are put in the scanning machine. You will then be met by a member of the ship's team who will direct you to your cabin. Cabins on arrival. This is the next heading. Hello. We'd like to let you know that for our earliest arrivals, not all cabins will be ready. Please bear with us as our hard-working housekeeping team finish getting them spick and span. Feel free to drop your hand luggage off in your cabin and explore the ship. We'll make an announcement once all cabins are ready for you. This may have changed since this was done, which was in 2019, but it's just to give you an idea of what to expect. Hello from Scotland. Please allow between 1 or 2 hours for your luggage to be delivered to your cabin. It also takes additional time to be scanned at the port before it can be brought on board in line with local security measures. So I'm just reading fast book this information regarding Morella Cruises. If you have a cruise coming up or you're due to go on one, or you're perhaps a first-time cruiser, or you're thinking of booking one, because my channel is dealing with traveling, cruising and sightseeing, so I give advice. Any advice on any travel or sightseeing or cruises, I will give advice on it because I've done several of them and I've got one coming up. Now this next bit is important. Safety at sea. So obviously a safety drill takes place. So you don't wear your life jackets anymore. You just have to watch your TV in your room, basically watching the muster drill, and you also can download an app called Navigate on board, and you can watch it on there under the tab called My Muster. When you've watched your video, you obviously then will get your card scanned at your muster station. In my case, when I went on the celebration, it was number 14. These could be letters, it could be numbers, it could be located anywhere on the ship, either the atrium, the reception area, one of the restaurants, one of the bars, the swimming pool area. It could be located, anywhere on the ship. And they scan it. So they'll scan the back of your card, like with a PDA or something, which then tells them that you've attended your muster drill, or you've watched it basically on the TV in your room. So everybody has to have their card scanned, including kids. Okay, everybody on your cruise has to have it done. And any that aren't done, they'll be called out on the tannoy, because it has to be done before the ship can sail. So, but anyway, so safety in your cabin. So it just gives advice really about turning things off when you're not using them. So hair dryers, travel irons, curling tongs, hair straighteners and shavers are permitted when used with caution. Please don't leave anything plugged in when leaving your cabin, which includes phone chargers as well. Anything you've got charging, like laptops, iPads, phones, gaming consoles, little gaming console, anything. Turn everything off when you go out of your room. That's what it's basically saying. Now, going on to the toilet system in the cabins, it says they operate a vacuum toilet system. Any other items other than toilet tissue can damage the toilet system, so don't put wet wipes down the loo, basically, and flush it, because it will block it. It says here anyway, please don't dispose of makeup wipes or moist toilet tissues in the toilet. Use the bins provided. So just bear that in mind as well. Next page. Now this is an interesting point, because apparently on the P&O Iona at the moment, there's a lot of norovirus. So people aren't washing their hands or using the sanitizer, and they do advise you to do that. And it's common sense to wash your hand when you've been to the toilet, and before having a meal, before handling food. So please do it. That's what it says in this leaflet. So it says health and sanitation. Make sure that you wash your hands and sanitize them often, especially every time you board the ship. when entering and leaving any restaurants and after you've used the toilets. Common sense, right? Onboard ship account. Now, obviously, everything on board a cruise with Marella is cashless. So that's why you register a card or some money. So it says, for everything from drinks at the bar to purchases in the shops, simply present your ship's card and sign your name against your cabin number on a receipt, basically. So obviously the recommended payment is debit card. You can register your card at check-in. Your onboard account is then active and you're free to charge any purchases against your card. Just so you know, we don't take any money from your debit card until the final day of your cruise. And you can check that on the app as well, your onboard spends. And you usually get a statement through your cabin door before you go home, before you leave the ship. Right, okay. So what it says, right. So it gives an example that says if you spend £100 on one particular day, it says the money will be frozen in your account and so on day to day. The total charges for your cabin account will be debited on the final day. That's what it says. So that's what this card is for. Onboard purchases. So a la carte dining, which is basically specialty restaurants. So obviously it says you really should try our a la carte options during your cruise. So Cora La is one. You've obviously got Surf and Turf. And there's another one as well, Sushi Bar on the Discovery 2. So they are not part of all-inclusive, but the other restaurants are. So try those as well. They're part of your all-inclusive, but definitely try Cora La, which is like Indian food, Chinese food. It's Oriental food. It's really nice food. It's worth doing it. Celebrating style. So if you want to celebrate anniversaries, birthdays, honeymoons, or even renewing your wedding vows, and you can even get married on a cruise ship as well. Obviously, you go and see the social host or hostess on the cruise. It says it here actually. It says we can create an event for you when our captain will renew your vows. You can get flower arrangements, personalised birthday cakes delivered with singing waiters, breakfast in bed, champagne and chocolate and strawberries can be delivered to your cabin as well. So you can do all that. It's always a nice surprise. And you also get your name put in the cruise news, which usually will go inside here somewhere. Yeah, at the bottom there. They usually put messages for people that are celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or something even more special. Or a honeymoon. So, so another thing worth to go to, usually on sea day this happens, or it did do when I went on this cruise ship, is go to the port showcase, which you can watch in your cabin, but they used to do it in the Broadway Show Lounge. So it says that you can basically go and watch the port showcase in one of the bars, and then take a drink with you, and then you can watch the different destinations that you're going to visit, and that's when you can go and book some excursions. I always recommend booking them before you actually fly out to your cruise, because then when you get to your cabin, you will receive this in your room, which is the ticket for your trip. Whether you book it through the Marella Cruise Control Hub, you can book them on board, but a lot of trips get booked very quickly, especially in Rome and Venice and also Greece. So those trips are very popular. So it's always a good idea to book them before your cruise. Several weeks before your cruise, you can usually book them through the Marella Cruise Control Hub, as well as your restaurants. And when you get to your cabin, your tickets get delivered, which have on it the trip, the date of departure, your cabin number, and where you've got to meet your coaches. So that's worth doing. So now another one that I've seen quite often on the group pages is about the ship's Wi-Fi. I personally would not recommend purchasing a package. Get an eSIM from an airport or somebody else that does eSIMs online, where you might get a good deal. The ship's Wi-Fi is not great. My brother used it when we went on the Explorer 2 and he paid £90 for the week, and the signal was terrible. The download speed was really low. So I would recommend not using the Wi-Fi. Just use it when you're in the port. You can go to a lot of restaurants when you're ashore. They've all got free Wi-Fi. Even the cruise terminal has free Wi-Fi. Or just use the data when you're in port. Don't bother with the ship's Wi-Fi. It's not worth the money. And also make sure that when the ship is sailing out of port, that you turn your data off once you lose your signal, because your phone will pick up the ship's satellite and you'll be paying a very hefty phone bill. So I'm just giving you that advice. Use your data in port as you would if you were back home, depending what network you're with. Just obviously bear in mind your data might run out and you might have to purchase another one. But I would just use the Wi-Fi in the port or in one of the restaurants or cafes when you go ashore. That's what I would recommend. But at the end of the day, you're on holiday. Who wants to keep in touch with people back home? Obviously to let people know you've got there safe, fine. But who wants to keep in touch with stuff like work and school and college and university? You're on holiday. So I just use my phone for photographs and videos like this. And I'll be doing a lot of live streams when I go on the cruise. So please feel free to join the conversation, the chat, ask any questions you want, and I will do a video on whatever you ask. Smoking on cruises. So they have designated some open deck smoking areas. Usually you can go on the back of the ship or somewhere else on board to smoke. And that includes e-cigs or vapes as well. So you have to go to a specific part of the ship to smoke. So it will tell you this in your information leaflet. Regarding cabin safes, they're generally free to use now. Used to get charged to use the safe in your cabin, but now I believe they're all free. So take advantage of that. And obviously it's set to one code, but you can usually change it to a number that's convenient for you or a number that's personal to you. Going ashore, obviously if you go ashore independently, make sure that you're back in time for the ship sailing, because a few people have almost been caught out and the ship's almost gone without them. So please bear that in mind. If you're going ashore, make sure that you are back in time for sailing, and it usually tells you in the cruise news what time to be back. There's also a TV screen as you go off the ship telling you what time passengers have to be back, and usually the crew put a little wooden clock at the bottom of the gangway with the time on it, and it also gets announced to the tannoy as well when you arrive at the port. So please bear that in mind, what time to be back. If you go on an excursion with the cruise, like if you go on one of these trips, then the ship will remain in port. It won't go without you, because obviously that's because it's part of their itinerary. So it won't leave without you. So sunbeds and sunbathing, make sure you allow people to have a sunbed. So a lot of people might want to reserve them, but just bear in mind other people, consider other people. It says our crew will pop a ticket on any empty sunbeds. And if you're not back in 3/4 of an hour, it says we'll assume you're cheekily reserving it, and we'll take your towels and personal items to reception. That's not going to be very good, is it? Don't wear your jewellery in the pools or hot tubs, as the chlorine content may cause it to tarnish. Perfect common sense. That's basically giving you an overview of the leaflet that you will get roughly when you board your coach to go from the airport to your ship. Hope that's helped. I hope that's helped, and I'm sure it has. Now, we also used to have a captain's gala night, which is now called Dress to Impress, but in the past you used to get invitations like this inviting you to the captain's gala, and depending on what colour you had depended what sitting you had. Well, now it's just the Dress to Impress night, which is kind of a similar thing really, where you dress up and you meet the captain and his officers and you get to have photographs with them as well. That usually takes place on sea day, so you don't have to go to both of them. If you're on for a fortnight, you can go to just one, or you might not choose to go to either of them, it doesn't matter. But you can go to one of the main restaurants for dinner, or you can go to the buffet restaurants if you don't want a set menu. So, but I always like to go to the Dress to Impress, the Captain's Gala night, whatever you call it, because it gives you opportunity to meet other passengers, and obviously you get to meet the officers, the captain. He tells you a bit about the ship, and obviously where these people come from, because they come from all over the world. The chefs and people that work on board, they are amazing. It's like a united family. There's a lovely atmosphere. They're all friendly. They'll all talk to you. They'll all have photographs and selfies with you. So they are lovely, and some of them are very talented, where they'll make a towel animal or a napkin animal, or they'll do origami, or they'll obviously do a cocktail demo, ice sculpture. There's all sorts that takes place on the cruises, so it's really good. So I would take advantage of it, to be honest. So anyway, moving on to the cruise news. So obviously you'll get one of these in your cabin, which tells you where you're going to be the next day, whether you're at sea or in a port, and it tells you what time to be back on the ship. Obviously it also tells you which gangway it's going to be, what the temperature is, what the weather is, and obviously it mentions a bit about the information about where you're visiting. In this case it was Bar in Montenegro. It mentioned about the immigration information, that so some ports you might be required to take your passport with you, or most of them require just your ship's boarding card. And obviously this one also mentions where the ship is going next. So then you open it up and you've usually got the different places on board the ship where they are, what deck they're on, what time they're open. Obviously it tells you about shore excursions, the laundry service as well, you can have that done. It says 1 full bag of laundry, that's a same day service, wash and fold. Once you place your bag before 9 AM, just ask your friendly cabin steward or reception team for more details. The laundry bag must close once filled, otherwise it won't be picked up and items will be folded but not pressed. I think it's about £19 to have that done now, and that comes out your cabin account, but it saves you doing it when you go home. So take advantage of it. I always do. And then you open it up again, and it obviously says where you can drink up there, all the different bars. It might put somebody on that's on the cruise like this. In this case, it was the captain, where they're from. Obviously, any messages regarding birthdays and anniversaries are there. And then the entertainment, what goes on, like game shows, bingo, the performances by the Broadway Show Lounge team. Obviously, on the pool deck, they have quizzes, trivias, mystery voices. They have scattergrids, which I love, where they split the deck into 2 halves, and you obviously have to like guess words with a particular letter. They have the port showcase. You can obviously go to the library. You can go on a backstage tour with the show team. There's all sorts. It really is brilliant. And at the bottom there, it tells you what time to be back on board when you go ashore. And on the back, any offers that they've got on in the shops, they're on the back as well. And obviously, if you want to have something special, it tells you that on there as well. So that's basically the cruise news. So take advantage of reading it when you are in your cabin. You usually get one in your room when you get there, welcoming you on board. If you're travelling on your own, you'll have a letter that will say that you can attend a solo dinner. So take advantage of that if you want to. And something else I did when I went on a cruise was go on the bridge tour. So again, you can book that at reception and obviously check your cruise news. And I think it was about 20 quid, but it also includes a photograph. So I had one taken there. Sorry, other way around. There we go. So that's the bridge tour. And that was done on the 30th of July 2019 on the Marilla celebration. So I'm on the photograph. I'm just there on the photograph. So, and I still keep in touch with these two. That's Nikki and Dean from Bridge North area in Shropshire. So that was the captain. That's Debbie, the social hostess on the end. So it includes a photograph. So all those people took part. So it was fantastic. And you get to see the officers and everything. So it is fantastic. And then it's all worth the money. It's all worth the money. And one final thing before I round this video off. Just before you leave to go home, you get a time to say goodbye letter in your room, which basically explains what to do regarding when you've got to be out your cabin, where you can leave your hand luggage if you want to go ashore before you go home, how to settle your account, and obviously on the back regarding your luggage labels, which you will get included. And then it tells you the flights and what time you've got to leave the ship. So that's what you'll get when you are about to leave to go home. Usually 2 or 3 days before, you'll get one of them in your room. So bear that in mind as well. So hopefully this video has given you some insight in regards to what to expect on a cruise. If you want to get a port map of where you're going, you can go to Destination Services and take a photograph of the maps that are on the screen. Because they used to have paper ones, but now they don't. But there is a guy out there that actually does have a website with maps on. So if I can find it, I'll include the link in the description under this video. But I hope that's given you some idea regarding cruises. Any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And I'll answer the question. Hopefully that's given you some insight. So it's at Carl Smith to subscribe. I do look forward to more subscribers and more viewers of my channel. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Because obviously I'm going to the Capybara experience next week at the Huzu. So that's going to start at 10:30 on the 4th of March. I'm going to be there before then, obviously, but I will obviously come on the live chat just before it starts, or do a video just before, just to say I'm due to do a live stream, and then I'll be going into the capybara enclosure and getting to feed Cinnamon, the capybara, the famous one, and her friend and her family, and obviously have photos with her and other videos as well. So please look forward to that. It's the anniversary of the channel a week on Wednesday. I may go over to Peak Wildlife Park, and then of course I've got the cruise back end of March. So lots to look forward to. Other series coming up as well during May and June, and obviously on into the autumn. So there's plenty of series to look forward to for the channel. So please subscribe, as I've said, at CarlSmith25, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.